We're back with another no-chew recipe, and tonight we're going to do something called chicken curry in a hurry. Now there's a reason it's called chicken curry in a hurry, because it's a quick dish, and it's also a dish I used to not like curry, but when I started making curry at home using the individual curry spices instead of the curry powder that you get in the store, I found that I really liked curry. So I'm hoping that you'll give this a try, even if you think you don't like curry, because you may decide you like it after all. And again, this is a quick, easy dish. It's also a dish that you can make for everybody else in your family. Now, if you are the one who's on the soft food diet and you need to have things pureed, it's sometimes difficult to fix your meals and fix somebody else's meals as well. But this is a dish that you can serve to the whole family prior to the pureeing process. So let's get started. We're going to start with 4 boneless and skinless chicken breasts. I have put these in a pan and we just put some chicken broth in there and poached them with a lid on them for about 30-35 minutes. You can cook your chicken any way you want to. If you want to bake it in the oven or if you want to boil it ahead of time. It's a good idea also to prepare your chicken ahead of time before you make this dish, which makes it go a lot quicker. So I just wanted to show you that this is one way that you can cook your chicken, and it's a real easy way to do it. Just put it in a skillet with some broth and let it poach for a little while. So we're going to remove the chicken from the pan, and I'll be back in just a minute to show you how we put all the spices together. So we're going to start with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a skillet. We're going to let that get hot, and then to that we're going to add about 1 medium onion diced. And we're just going to let the onion cook for a little bit. Now we're also going to add about 1/3 cup of golden raisins. Stir those into the onions. Turn the heat down to about medium-high. And we'll just let that continue to cook until the onions get translucent. And once your onions begin to look a little translucent, we're going to add some salt. About maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon salt. And then some ground pepper to taste. I've got about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now we're going to add our curry spices. Now this is what I mean about curry being a lot better if you use fresh spices. We're going to add 1 teaspoon each of tumeric, smoked paprika, coriander, and cumin. So let's just stir all that in. And this smells really good. So we're just going to cook those spices in just a little bit for a couple of minutes. Just enough to kind of toast the spices. And then this is where we're going to add our cooked chicken. Now as you can see, I have cut the chicken up. I took it out of the pan, cut it up, chopped it up into small pieces. And we're going to add that. Now you may not want to add all of the chicken. It's kind of up to you how much of this you want to make. We may not add all of it. I think I might have added about 2 of the chicken breasts to this. And just stir that up a little bit. Now when I poached the chicken earlier, I had some chicken broth left over. And that's the broth I'm going to use to add back to this mixture. I had 2 cups of broth, and I'm just going to add a little as we go. We can add a little bit more broth. And of course, you know you have to have some liquid in there when you're going to puree it too, which is going to be our next step. So that's pretty much all there is to it. We're not going to actually heat this up any further because we're going to move it to the food processor now and do the pureeing. Now if you have other people in your household, this is where you would want to stop, and this is ready to serve. Now there is another step at the very end. We're going to add some sour cream. So if you're making this for other people, go ahead and add your sour cream now. But we're going to go ahead and puree this since we're doing this for no-chew soft food diets. We're going to take this over to the food processor and get it pureed, and then we'll bring it back to the pan and add our sour cream. So now we have our food processor set up, and we're going to put our chicken mixture in the food processor and puree it like we do everything. So we may have to do this in batches. Sometimes we can get it all in there in one scoop, and sometimes we have to do batches. Now keep one thing in mind when you're doing chicken curry or any kind of curry. The tumeric that's in the curry is a yellow spice. It's what makes mustard yellow, and it's a dye. So if you put it in your food processor and you have a white center in your food processor, it will turn that yellow because turmeric is a dye. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't change the function of your food processor, but it will color it. And we are going to do this in batches. So let's put the lid on. And let's check that. That looks like we could use a little bit more liquid. What I'm going to do is use some of the chicken broth that we had left over from poaching the chicken earlier. Just add some of that. Okay. Now you just want to be sure that you puree this long enough so that it gets smooth, that you don't have a lot of chunks in it. And that looks pretty good. Now we're going to take this out and then we'll do a second batch. We're going to add this back to the pan that it originally came out of. Put it back on the stove. We're going to turn the heat on medium-high just to reheat it. That's really all we're doing here. We're just reheating it. And we're going to add about a half a cup of sour cream. We're going to stir that in. So you can see what I mean by chicken curry in a hurry. If you've got your chicken cooked ahead of time, this recipe just doesn't take any time at all. We've dished up our chicken curry in a hurry. And as you can see, it looks like everything else that we puree. But again, it's not about presentation or looks, it's about flavor. And this dish really delivers on flavor. Between the curry spices and the raisins that give it that sweet flavor, this is going to be a dish that's really going to keep your diet from being boring and just give you that extra special punch of flavor in your diet. So I hope that even if you don't think you like curry, that you'll give this a try. And if you like this recipe, join me back for some more. We're going to have a lot of other interesting and different types of recipes coming up in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here again. Thanks. Bye-bye.